Bonjour. Welcome to the camera shop. How can I help you? Oh, just looking for some info on cameras. I can help you out with that. Are you interested in more modern electronic cameras or vintage? Vintage, alright. I like to hear that. First though, we do only schedule people by appointment. Did you come in for an informational appointment? Is that correct? Very good. If it's okay, I'm just going to check our database right now. Some of us are a little bit more traditional, write stuff down in a physical logbook. So I'll be checking our electronic databases for your appointment and then also our physical databases. Is that alright? Wonderful. Alright, so first of all, can you give me a first name? Alright. And what about a last name? Thank you. I'm going to check this out now. That's spelled with a C or a K. Gotcha, thank you. Thought it was a C. Alright. For 2 p.m. today. Okay, well, I'm not seeing your name in our computer database, so I'm going to check our logbook. And unfortunately, if your name is not in here, we do have to have you come back in for an appointment. I don't want us to sound like very prissy camera people, but we are very busy with our photography lessons, our repair work, and also just our gallery of old vintage cameras. So there's a lot of upkeep with this place and not a lot of staff. So that is why we do by appointment only for informational visits. Gotcha. So I'll check our database, our physical database. I have these 2 books right here. Yeah, these are pretty old. You can tell this one's a little bit older. The pages are starting to get yellow, but I can't be hardened to throw them out, you know. They're a part of history, just like vintage cameras. Alright, I'll pull your name up in here. Let's see. You're coming in today. Informational meeting, 2 p.m. And was this meeting with me or with one of our other managers at the store here? Gotcha, with me. Cool. That sounds great. Alright. This appointment does come with a single complimentary pin at the end of our session. With those who like to come in for informational meetings, we like to schedule just a little bit of a nice touch at the end, give you a little gift. Just small, it's nothing very crazy. But we just like to say thank you for coming in because so much of the world now is on digital phones and nobody really feels like they have time for the old cameras of the past. So I always like seeing people coming in for that kind of thing. Yeah. Okay, so now that I have found you in our little physical manual, I know we are all set. And I will give you some details about the cameras first, and then we can continue on. Alright, let me just set these down. And I will close up our computer database if that's okay. We do like to just keep a little log of everybody that's come in, and then sometimes we'll see if we can invite you to some of our events. So in that case, could I get your email? if you'd be willing to give that out. Yeah. All right. Is it that through Yahoo or through Gmail? All right. Can you spell that out slowly for me? Any capitals? Okay. Wonderful. Cool. That is all set. So I'm going to go grab the cameras. I'm only going to be showing you 2 different cameras today, and we'll just talk a little bit about the history behind the camera, show you some fun features about it, and then I'll just give you a look at some of our other equipment. Sound good? Cool. And don't let me forget to show you the little pin that you get for free, just as our thank you. Sound good? Awesome. Alright, I'll go grab those. You just stay right here. Alright, friend. I'm so glad, for one, that you decided to come in for this informational appointment today. I would definitely say this isn't our most popular option here at the store, but I'm always so glad to see people coming in. Yeah. Alright, so the first camera I have to show you today is one of my pride and joys here at the camera shop. And it is our Target Brownie 616 camera. And the original label has fallen off, but this is by Kodak and it was made in the USA. There's a little detail here as well that I'll show you up close in a little bit. I don't like to get too hasty and show you what that all right now, but this is what our Brownie camera looks like. The cool thing about Brownie cameras is that they actually have 2 little viewfinders here, and the reason that they have that is because, for one, you don't look at this camera like you would like this, like with a digital camera or with a phone or any of that kind of stuff. You actually look down at the camera because they have these viewfinders. And an important thing to know with these cameras is that the reason they have those viewfinders is because when you're looking down, you can pick to have a vertical picture, and that's when you would look down here, or a horizontal picture, and that's when you would look in here. Now, the Brownie cameras first were released and came out in 1900, so these things are pretty old now. These were the first portable cameras that people could have, and they were such a hit, especially among servicemen at the time, because they were only $1. And I mean, this is, even though it may seem pretty large to us, I mean, if you think about it, many people, many photographers these days carry around large DSLR cameras, so I wouldn't say that this is too much bigger than one of those, especially if you have a large lens, interchangeable lenses and everything, prime lenses. Some of those can get pretty big, especially telephoto zoom lenses, so this really isn't too big of a deal when you think of size. And so these are very popular. People would take these with them everywhere. Many people started getting into portrait photography, family photos, and this was just something that really took off. It was a huge hit. Yeah, they only sold for $1 at the time, which obviously our money is different today, but this was still something most people could afford and would love to get, because technology back then, this kind of thing was like mind-blowing. Nobody had this kind of thing, so yeah, these were very special, groundbreaking in history, in portrait photography, in travel photography, because people could easily pick this up and go anywhere. And yeah, it's very cool. The shutter is actually very interesting. There's this little lever here, and when pulled, that's your shutter opening and closing. And the interesting thing about this is if you look closely at this, which I will show you up close in a moment, the shutter itself is held by what looks together like a little clothespin. Or not clothespin, what is the word I'm looking for? Safety pin. It really looks like it's being held together by a safety pin. So that'll be interesting, but I will show you close-ups in a moment. I just want to be extra careful with this while I can. So yeah, do you have any questions? Hold on, just a moment. I can look that up for you if you'd like. Yeah, the name is missing off the top of my head right now. Let me pull it up for you. Hold on just a moment. I'll pull it up on our database. Ah, yes. I'm sorry, I don't know why I was losing off the top of my head. So Kodak is the name of the company that many people know of. My memory isn't so good, so I always forget this. But the Kodak's first name was Eastman. Yeah, and this was introduced in 1900, as I told you. Let's see. It was built to introduce the snapshot to the masses. The first ones, I don't know, you've probably heard this before, but first type things were like cardboard box type brownie cameras. They were very simple right at the start. Yeah. And it only took 2 1/4 inch pictures. Very small at the time. And just so you know, we briefly mentioned this, but the Kodak cameras, since they were priced at about $1 back then, 1900, that would basically be around $30 today. Clearly though, because this is such a prize to me, this is not for sale. This is something I just like to show people. Part of history. I really appreciate it. I like to keep it here at the store. But there are definitely others you can find out there. Yeah, oh sure. I actually got this when thrift shopping. So you can really find anywhere if you're really looking for it. But I'm sure you could also find it on sites like Etsy, Amazon, eBay. The digital world has opened a lot of doors, so I'm sure you can find this. Yeah, should we move on to the next camera? Wonderful. All right. Alright, so the next camera that I have to show you today is another vintage camera found at a vintage store. Highly recommend checking out those local thrift stores if you're ever looking for some vintage equipment. So this next camera we have is the Minolta SRT-202 camera. And this is another one that I hold very dear to my heart. It was my first vintage find here for the camera shop. And it is just, it's in very, very good shape. I bought this for more than I bought the other one for, surprisingly. You'd think that an older camera, like the Brownie camera, would cost me much more, but this one actually cost me around $50 to purchase. However, it's always interesting. When I come across new finds, new equipment, or cameras at antique or thrift stores, most people don't tend to think that they work. They just acquire the equipment, know that they could sell them, maybe for decent money. Sometimes other people do not think they can sell them for good money. And then I find them, and they usually work. I find film through them, purchase them, get lenses for them, and here we are. This specific Minolta camera actually came with the lens that it has on it right now, which is an auto zoom macro lens. It's a ProMaster lens, and this is a 28 to 70 millimeter camera lens, and this is detachable, so if I ever wanted to purchase another one, I could also add that. And this camera has a lot of great features. You know, I can set shutter speed, I can set aperture, I can even do a timer on here, unlike the other cameras. Just a lot of great things. Easy to roll film. I actually, when I was in college, took a camera photography class, and it was specifically featuring film, and we used the darkroom, learned all about film techniques, and we used similar, actually almost the exact same kind of film camera. Some facts for you. The Minolta brand is actually a Japanese film company, or camera company, and the SRT series first started getting popular around 1966, so this is definitely a much more recent camera, but still vintage, still not what we would call modern in today's society, but but it is still a very cool find, and I'm still very excited that I have this camera. Yeah, and the lens is very smooth, really great focus, just a lot of opportunities here with this camera. I do not have the original camera strap or bag that it came with, but as you can see here, there's a remnant of that portion of this camera. So if I ever find a similar type of leather bag, I definitely will be getting it for this. Yeah. So I'm gonna pull up one more thing from our database. Actually, I'll show you those close-ups now of both of those cameras, and then we'll talk a little bit about lenses, and then I'll give you your pin and you'll be off. Sound good? Wonderful. Thank you so much for being so great so far. All right, let me go grab a couple more things, and then I'll show you the close-ups of the cameras. Cool. All right, so here we have the Minolta camera, and this is the Minolta SRT-202 camera. Got a little bit of dust here on the lens, but I don't like to wipe that just yet. We do a cleaning at the end of the day, so that will be done later on. This is the camera up close. Very cool, very nice features. We've got the shutter speed here, little wind, rolls the film right here, and then, you know, shutter button itself. This is where we had the strap for the camera. It also has the numbers along the lens for the different feet. If you're far away trying to figure out where you should focus the blur, different little settings as well in here that I am unable to speak, so I apologize. I've also got a nice little informational chart right there, so yeah, it's really helpful. And you also have an indicator here on how much your film is being used up. So same with here, you've got a number, how many shots you've already taken. As you can see, we've already used up about 20 pictures, so that is just that much. And now I will show you our brownie camera. As promised, here is the brownie camera. Here's that little lever I was telling you about, and when you pull that, see the little safety pin, and then you can see the shutter going by. I love the decal here around the brownie camera. This is where I believe the Kodak label would have been before, but it must have rubbed off, broken off, something of the like. And then we've got two little views there, one for this viewfinder, one for this viewfinder, and inside here we have a plate with reflective coating, but obviously that is rubbing off over the years, so you can no longer really see what you're taking pictures of, but it is still a cool feature of this camera. So yeah, this is the Target Brownie 616 camera, made in the USA, vintage, first portable camera, so really cool thing to have on hand, even if just for decoration. So yeah, well, my friend, it was such a pleasure having you come in. I'm so glad that you can join us today at the camera shop, and I wish you the best day you could have. Maybe check out some of the local activities. There will be a music festival later on in the evening featuring some very nice local artists. You can also sip on some wine, go view the lake, also take some trolley rides around the city. I've heard that those are becoming very popular quite recently. But before you go, I just wanted to give you this little pin, and it just says "We Click," and I just wanted to give that to you. This is your little free token of our gratitude that you stopped by for an appointment and informational meeting. If you'd like, you can check out our gift shop. You could also pick up some more pamphlets on where you could find similar equipment, or give just such similar facts about other cameras that you can find. And please come in if you're ever looking for photography lessons. We have some really talented photographers that come in. And if you ever need anything repaired, please don't hesitate to give us a call. Alright, thank you so much for coming in. Have a wonderful day.